Okay, so we're gonna start with hi. I've never done the live thing before, so if this is bad, my bad. But I can't just keep sharing things at this point. I'm legitimately upset about things, and I know that seems not to be the case because I seem so calm right now. But I have had numerous fights with people recently about whether or not I'm racist and about how I'm more upset about businesses being destroyed than I am about the loss of somebody's life, and about how I don't know anything about the poverty and the slavery and the damage that gets done, and I don't know what it's like to be targeted as a black person, and da 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 da. Well, you know what? You're right. I don't know what it's like to be targeted as a black person. I do know what it's like to be targeted as a woman. And I know quite a bit about history and the government and slavery. I'm actually extremely educated on it because it's something I'm very interested in. And I know that every step of the way, slavery has been a political move. The separation between black and white has been a political move. At the end of the day, it's about how they can keep us separated and keep control. It's about how how they can scare us into submission. Now, do I believe in rioting? Absolutely not. There is a complete difference between rioting and looting and protesting. And before anybody says anything or comments or whatever the fuck, I get it. Colin Kaepernick kneeled. Everybody got rid of their fucking DirecTV and didn't want to watch the NFL because it was so disrespectful to soldiers who fight for his right to kneel. Every time you try to do something to protest the government, they are going to tell you you are wrong. That is how they keep control over us. But that does not mean that the right answer is to go destroy businesses and cars and harm people that have done nothing. Harm people in numerous ways. It's not just the physical act of burning a building that is taking people's jobs. It's making items cost more. It is devaluing our money even more. If you know anything about economics and the government and the treasury system, the value of our dollar is almost non-existent at this point, and the coronavirus didn't help with that. We were already in a position where people were tense and concerned, and now we're in a position where people are not realizing that the media and the government are taking this opportunity to just take more control. Because when you are lawless and you destroy things and half of the people are complaining about their jobs being lost, their livelihood being lost, the government then uses that as an excuse to step in and enforce more and more and more. Is that logical? Yeah, from a point of trying to take power, it absolutely is. Is it beneficial? Only to the government. But here we are encouraging it because instead of being rational, people are lighting cars on fire, attacking other people. I get it. Some people are just fucking shit. Some people are complete wastes of human life and do not value anything that they have, anything that anybody else has. And some people never will. It's just, unfortunately, the way it is. It's so wrong on so many levels. It is absolutely wrong that this man lost his life with 4 police standing there. But can we talk about the amount of people standing there recording it? Can we talk about the amount of people that were complicit in the situation? Just stood there and fucking watched? Why? Because they're police? Well, if you know about our Constitution, we as the people have the right to overthrow our government when they begin to trample all over our rights. But the key thing to that is people need to understand your rights end where you begin to trample on another person's rights. Your rights stop there. Just because you can do something doesn't mean you should. Just because you have the right to be a selfish person doesn't mean you should be a selfish person. Just because you have the right to shoot somebody standing in your yard doesn't mean you should do it. But here we are. And let's not play games. This is not all just black people rioting and destroying things. This is not white people that think they are black destroying and rioting. It's not one group of anything. It is antagonists that want to make them look bad. It is government hired people that are, of course, doing what they can to keep us separated, because let's be fucking real. The more we're fighting each other, the more control they get to take. It's people fighting for completely different reasons. And what isn't being shown so much is the amount of police standing there saying, no, this was wrong. That man was murdered on live, on camera, in front of people. He was murdered. But every single motherfucking person that stood there and watched it was complicit. They all stood there and watched it. They recorded it. They shared it on the fucking internet. But they didn't go up and push that man off of him. You're worried about this man losing his life, and you're willing to riot and steal from people, not caring about the economic effect it's going to have on everybody around. But you're going to tell me you're not willing to go over there and shove that cop off of there and maybe risk your own motherfucking life to protect that man? So no, I'm not all for the rioting and the looting, and I understand that it's not all one person. And no, I'm not all for killing any member of society for no fucking reason. Now, do I believe in corporal punishment? Absolutely. The man that knelt down on George Floyd's neck should be lynched, because that's what he did. He lynched that man in a modern day fashion and didn't blink about it. Absolutely. Corporal punishment. Hang that motherfucker out in a tree. Do it old school. Do it like they would have done back then. Absolutely. But go attack every police officer that I see? No. I know way too many police officers that would have shoved that man off of him, that would not have stood there and been complicit in that situation. And this is where the problem lies. We are sitting here looking at all this negativity, and we're not taking a second to say, you know, at the end of the day, yeah, there's a lot of negativity in this world. And yeah, white men are all kinds of privileged. White women are privileged. White men are more privileged. As a woman, I still have to fight for my right to not be sexually harassed just by walking out my fucking door. And that's funny on this page because I do that openly. But again, I've been raped by 2 different men. I spent 7 years of my life being raped by men. I went to court. I testified. I showed an entire jury pictures of the inside of me with scars. I watched both of those men walk away free because a jury would rather let 10 guilty men walk away than convict one innocent man. So to think for half of a second that I don't understand the privilege of a white man in the world is just not even logical. But at the end of the day, the only way to make it better is to change. And no, you can't control everybody else, but you can change yourself. You can be that shining light of love to somebody else. You can defend yourself and not be willing to allow somebody to walk all over you and treat you poorly without treating somebody else bad. You can do all of those things and still show love and still stand up for who you are. In the situation we're in, we're seeing even more police brutality in the middle of all of this, which, big fucking surprise, because they're there. They're there. But all we're seeing is the police brutality. They're not showing us the numerous police that are willing to stand with the people. The numerous police that, had they been around, would have been able to do something, would have chosen to do something, rather than being complicit. They're showing us what they know will keep us divided. Because that's how we all lose. We lose while they continue to gain. And as long as people are willing to keep fighting each other, this government's always going to have that ability. At the end of the day, this is a nation made of people that were willing to fight as hard as they possibly could to be their own people. And let's be real, we killed almost an entire land full of indigenous people. I live in a state that used to be part of Mexico. Let's be honest, this is what this country is founded on. Is taking and damaging and blah, 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 blah. But it'll never be anything but if we don't choose to be different. If we don't choose to find a better way. So yeah, 500 years later, we're still having the same fucking fight over slavery. Because instead of learning from our history, we're just repeating it. Instead of learning from our history, we're trying to sweep it under the rug like it doesn't exist. Now, do I think that means that we need to live in present day in that history? No. My forefathers never had slaves. My fucking grandmother came over here on a ship after World War II. So, nope, nobody in my family ever had slaves in America. We didn't even live here that long. I'm only second generation American. Why should I have to pay reparations for something that you didn't even suffer through? Your family did. And you know what they did? They rose above it and they fucking came out strong. And that is unbelievably commendable. It is the amazing, most wonderful thing in the world. And don't lose that fucking spirit. But do it in a fashion that benefits you, not in a fashion that is going to harm you. That's my only thought on this. I am all for it. Justice, don't fucking take this. Don't sit there and let them kill you off. Don't sit there and let anybody make you feel like you are less than you are. But don't damage more people in the process. Because the more people you hurt, the more people have to heal. The more people are going to react in a negative manner instead of being positive and showing love and trying to make things better. Because at this point, the only way this changes is if Americans come together and stand up to the bigot that we have for a president. If Americans come together and say, I am unwilling to stand back and accept this. I will not be treated bad. I will not watch you treat somebody else bad. I expect more out of myself and I expect more out of you. But you have to hold yourself to those standards. Am I willing to die for what I believe in? Am I willing to fight on every level? Absolutely. Does that mean I need to start by being violent? No. There's a process to it. And I understand that this is years and years and years in the making. And at this point, shit is violent. But fucking do something about it in the middle of it happening. Don't stand there with your fucking $1,500 goddamn iPhone 12 or whatever the fuck iPhone we're on. Do something about it. Make it change. Do not stand there and watch it. But find a way to do it without hurting anybody that didn't do anything wrong. Find a way to do it without children getting pepper sprayed in the face. Everything about that is wrong. Everything about it. Including the fact that somebody had their fucking kids there. You know what I'm doing with my kids in the middle of a riot? I'm sitting at home or somewhere safe because my job, number one, always is to keep them safe. It is not to take them somewhere where I know damn good and well they're going to be firing rubber bullets. People are going to be lighting shit on fire. There's going to be cars blowing up, accidents, police brutality. Keep listing the barrage of violence that you know is going to fucking happen in this. And tell me why, on any logical level, a parent would bring their child there. That's your fuck up. You shouldn't have brought your child to that situation. You shouldn't have done that. Should those cops have pepper sprayed that child? Absolutely not. No, that's a fucking child that has no choice. That's just, they're there because their parents made them go. That child got hurt because their parents made them go. And these cops are fucking assholes following orders instead of standing up. But not all of them. Some of them are marching with people. Some of them are posting videos about how that was fucking murder. Absolutely outright, it's murder. Do something about it. You can't just lump everybody of every career or race or whatever the fuck category you want to pick into one goddamn category. It doesn't fucking work like that. If we were all one goddamn person, this wouldn't be an issue in the first fucking place. Let's be real. And I'm sure there are probably a million people shaking their head at me right now. Not a million people, obviously. Not a million people are watching this. But point being, people are shaking their head at me right now because you crazy fucking white bitch, what do you know? But I know that I've grown up in it and I watched it my whole life. And I've suffered through plenty of my own problems. And what I learned was when I stopped being a victim, I was capable of changing my life. When I stopped being a victim and stopped fighting on emotion and started using my logic and decided to be a warrior that strategized, I got a lot fucking farther in my life than I was when I sat there and played the victim and reacted on emotion instead of logically stepping back and looking at things and finding a way to go about it in a manner that I will still look better than you. Because at the end of the day, if they can make you look bad, your fight isn't going to make any goddamn difference. So that's my piece, and I'm sure I'll hear something negative about it at some point, but that's what I think.